You are standing in your own kitchen holding a mug she handed you before you asked for it. That is the thing you keep coming back to. Not the big moments, not the fights, not the silences, not the particular texture of her voice when she says your name in a way that makes it sound like a complete sentence. Just that. The mug, handed to you before you asked. 7 months in, and she already knows the order, the exact temperature, the ratio. She made it while you were still in the shower and set it on a cork coaster with a birch tree on it that appeared on your counter sometime in October without announcement or explanation, the way most of her things appeared, incrementally, quietly, as if they had always been there and you were only now noticing them. You drink the coffee. It is exactly right. That is part of the problem, though you don't have the language for that yet. She is at the stove in your oversized gray sweatshirt, the one you bought in Prague 4 years ago and have never once seen her ask permission to wear. Her hair is loose. She is humming something you don't recognize, something with a minor key, Eastern European in its bones, the kind of melody that sounds like it comes from a place where winter lasts 6 months and people have made their peace with that. The apartment smells like cardamom and whatever perfume she wears, which has by now colonized every soft surface you own. The couch cushions, the pillow on your side of the bed, the collar of the jacket you wear to work. Through the kitchen window, nothing. The glass is completely fogged with steam. The world outside has been erased. You have been running a calculation for approximately 6 weeks. Not whether you love her, you do, or you did, or you have arrived at a point where you are no longer confident those are different things, but whether the feeling in your chest right now is contentment or the absence of something you cannot name. The calculation runs constantly quietly like an application open in the background, consuming processing power you can't account for. You wake up running it. You fall asleep running it. It has not returned an answer. In the bedroom, on the top shelf of the closet, your suitcase is waiting. You know it is there. You have been aware of it in the way you are aware of a voicemail you haven't listened to. A low-level, persistent knowledge that something requires your attention, and you have been choosing, each day, to defer it. She turns and smiles at you, and you smile back, and the calculation keeps running underneath. Your friend Darius has sent you 3 messages this week. The last one says only, "You still exist?" You read it in the bathroom at work, standing with your back against the cold tile, and felt for a moment like a man trying to signal through glass. You draft a reply 4 separate times. You send none of them. She comes into the living room and curls next to you on the couch with a book, Russian, red cover, gold Cyrillic lettering you cannot read, and puts her feet in your lap without looking up, the way you put your keys on the counter when you come home. Without thinking. Without asking. As if your lap is a surface that belongs to her, available and expected. You put your hand on her ankle automatically, and the text to Darius stays in your drafts. And outside the window, the fog hasn't cleared. The first time you actually try to leave, it is a Monday evening in November. She is in the shower. You have been building toward this moment for the entire workday, constructing it deliberately, carefully, the way you might construct an argument you know you need to make and know you might lose. You have a plan. Bag packed, calm conversation, out by 9. You pull the suitcase down from the top shelf at 7:14 p.m. You open it on the bed. The inside smells faintly of a hotel room from 2 years ago, before her. Some anonymously clean scent of fresh sheets and miniature soap. A ghost of a life that moved differently. You begin placing things inside, methodically. Shirts folded the way you fold them, charger coiled, shaving kit. You take out the shaving kit. You have one here, but she's been using your brand of moisturizer and you might need You stop yourself. You put the shaving kit back. The shower is running. You have the time. You are actually doing this. Then you realize you don't know where you're going. You have spent 6 weeks planning the leaving and not 1 minute planning the arriving. You don't have a destination. The suitcase is half full and upright on the bed, and you are standing there with a blue shirt in your hands, understanding for the first time that you have been so focused on the door that you forgot to think about the street on the other side of it. The shower stops. You hear the curtain rings slide across the rod. She comes out of the bathroom in a cloud of steam, towel-wrapped, wet hair dark against her shoulders, and she looks at you, and she looks at the suitcase, and she does not cry, does not raise her voice, does not do any of the things you have been bracing for across 6 weeks of silent rehearsal. She simply looks, completely still, With an expression that is not devastation and not fury, but something quieter and more total, the expression of someone who is seeing something they already knew was coming and had hoped, privately, they were wrong about. She says, "Where are you going? Not why, not how could you. Just where." As if the logistics are the only remaining question. As if the rest of it is already understood between you, has been understood for some time, and is not worth the insult of being spoken aloud. There's a water droplet running down her collarbone. Her mascara from this morning has left the faintest trace under her right eye. She smells like your shampoo because she finished hers last week and started using yours without mentioning it, and you didn't say anything because it seemed too small a thing to say anything about. And now it is one of approximately 40 small things that have accumulated into something large. You say you need some space. You say you have been feeling, and here the sentence runs out, here is where the 6 weeks of rehearsal simply fails to produce language. Here is the gap. And in the gap, she moves toward you. She doesn't pull the suitcase away. She closes her fingers over the handle, over your hand, very gently, the way you would take something from someone who was holding it without realizing they were tired. She sits on the edge of the bed. She says, "Tell me," low, unhurried, like she has all the time in the world and you are the only thing in it. The speech does not survive this. You sit down. And what comes out is not the prepared thing, but something real. A genuine catalog, unexpectedly specific of what has been building. You talk for 40 minutes. You say things you have not said to anyone. You say things you did not know you were carrying. She listens without defending herself, without explaining, without once redirecting the conversation toward herself. At some point she says, "I didn't know you felt that way." She sounds like she means it. She probably does. That is the thing you will not be able to resolve. The suitcase sits open on the bed between you, migrating slowly toward the edge. By the time you finish talking, it is dark outside and someone has turned on the lamp. You don't remember when. And the quality of light in the room has shifted from clinical overhead white to something warmer. You are still in the apartment. The suitcase is still open, technically. You wake up briefly, half dressed, the lamp still on. She is asleep beside you, the suitcase is on the floor beside the bed, pushed slightly to one side. The blue shirt you folded is wrinkled now. You tell yourself, tomorrow. 2 weeks later, you call Darius. You are standing in the stairwell of your office building with the fire door propped open on your shoe and cold air coming in. And you tell him you are going to do it this weekend. For real. He has heard this before. There is a pause that does not pretend otherwise. But he says, okay. He says the couch is made up Friday night. He will leave a key under the mat. Just come. You have a destination this time. That changes something. The calculation that has been running in the background suddenly has an output, and you walk back to your desk, feeling for the first time in months like a person with a direction. She met Darius once at a dinner in September. She was perfectly warm to him, charming, asked thoughtful questions about his work in structural engineering, seemed genuinely interested. Afterward, in the cab home, she said mildly that she found him a little negative. You said nothing. You notice now, standing in the elevator back up to your floor, that you have spoken to him significantly less since September. You file this under things to think about later. Friday. 6 p.m. You come home to the smell of your mother's recipe. Not a recipe she knows. A recipe you mentioned once, in passing, on a Sunday in August when you were both half asleep. Something your mother used to make on cold evenings, a specific layered thing with root vegetables and a particular spice combination that takes most of the afternoon. You mentioned it once. She remembered. She has been preparing it since 2 o'clock. The table is set with cloth napkins folded into triangles. The candles she bought in September, which have been sitting unused on the shelf for 2 months, are lit. There is a Georgian red wine, her recommendation, with the price sticker still on the bottom of the bottle. $34. She bought it yesterday, you realize, which means she planned this yesterday, which means she decided to do this before today, which tells you nothing definitive about anything. You go to the bedroom to change, and you see the suitcase on the top shelf of the closet. You change your mind about putting it back after that first night. You left it up there, a loaded signal to yourself. You look at it. Then you close the closet door. Dinner is very good. You drink most of the wine. She tells you about her grandmother in Kazan, a story involving a goat, a railway platform, and a mistranslation that apparently caused some kind of civic incident in 1987. And you laugh. A real laugh. The kind that arrives without your permission and rearranges your face, and she watches you laugh with an expression of pure satisfaction. Not the satisfaction of winning something warmer than that. Something that looks from the outside exactly like love. She reaches across the table mid-story and puts her hand on yours. She is not making a point, she is just touching you. The stone in your chest shifts. It is 8:30. You told Darius by 10. At 11:47 p.m. you send him a text, "Can't tonight, tomorrow." He reads it at 11:48. He does not respond. You put the phone face down on the coffee table and listen to her breathing from the bedroom, and the silence where his reply is incoming fills up the dark living room like water. 6 weeks pass. You count them. In those 6 weeks, the suitcase stays on the top shelf. Still packed, still zipped. You did not unpack it after that Friday. You told yourself the packed suitcase was a form of honesty, an acknowledgement that you were still a man who might leave, who was still deciding, who had not surrendered. The packed suitcase was evidence. You checked on it obliquely, in the way you check on something you are not quite ready to use but are not ready to return. She has started therapy. She mentions it one evening without drama, without positioning it as a gesture toward you. She says she went Thursday. She is going again next week. The therapist's name is Yekaterina. She says this last detail with the faintest trace of irony that tells you she is aware of how it sounds. You say that's good, you mean it, you do not know what to do with it. On a Saturday in January, she goes to her yoga class. 9 a.m., 90 minutes every week, same studio, same instructor, same window of absence. You have been circling this window for 2 weeks the way you circle a difficult phone call, knowing you need to make it, finding reasons why not today. Today, you pull the suitcase down at 9:04. You pack it with a different quality of intention this time. Not symbolic, not a rehearsal. Clothes for a week, laptop, the folder with your documents. You are done by 9:31. The suitcase is zipped. It weighs 11 kilograms. You know this because you weighed it on the bathroom scale, standing in your socks, wanting to know exactly what you were carrying. You order the cab on your phone, a black Peugeot. Driver named Bogdan, rated 4.7 stars. Arriving in 8 minutes, the time is 9:33. She will be back at 10:30. You have 57 minutes of margin, which is 57 more than you have ever had. You pick up the suitcase, you walk to the front door, you put your hand on the handle. The handle is cold. The apartment runs cool in January, a thing you have complained about, and she has not changed because she runs warm, and this has been a small, ongoing negotiation with no resolution. The handle is cold under your palm, and the cab is 6 minutes away, and you are doing it. Your phone buzzes. A voice note. 42 seconds. Her name on the screen. You know, some part of you knows with a clarity that is almost physical that you should not press play. You should open the door and walk to the Peugeot and let the voice note exist in your phone unheard. A message sent to a person who is already gone. You could do that. Bogdan is 5 minutes away. You could do that right now. You press play. She speaks quietly, without drama, without the performance of crisis. She says she knows something has been wrong between you for a while. She says she doesn't know how to reach you when you go somewhere she can't follow. She says she is scared, not of losing you specifically, but of the feeling that she is watching something happen and doesn't know how to stop it. She says she knows she can be, and here she pauses, choosing the word carefully, a lot. She says she knows that. The last 5 seconds of the recording are silence, and then, "I love you, that's all, I just wanted you to know." The door handle is 3 inches from your face. Bogdan is 4 minutes away. You cancel the cab. The app processes it efficiently. Booking canceled. Cancellation fee. $3.50. It offers you the option to rate your experience. You close the app. You stand in the hall for a long time. Long enough that the light through the door's peephole shifts slightly as a cloud moves somewhere above the city. Then you pick up the suitcase and carry it back to the bedroom and put it on the shelf and close the closet door. You do not unpack it. You are clear about this. The suitcase is packed. It is in the closet. And those are not the same thing as surrendering. You still have it ready. You are still a man who could leave. The distinction matters. You will think about the distinction less and less over the following weeks, which is its own answer. She comes home at 10:31, flushed from the cold, yoga bag on her shoulder, and her face does the thing it does when she sees you. A small, involuntary relaxation, like the part of her that was looking for you can rest now. She sits next to you. She asks if you listened to the voice note. You say yes, she nods. She doesn't ask what you thought. She puts her head on your shoulder. You let her. February. A restaurant you chose because it was neutral ground, public, contained, impossible to stretch into something endless. You made the reservation 3 days ago. You have been rehearsing the conversation quietly on the train to work, in the shower, waiting for coffee to brew. The restaurant has small tables near the window and tea lights in glass holders and a slight wobble in the table they seat you at, which you notice immediately and say nothing about. She is wearing the amber earrings. Ukrainian, small, found in a market on a Sunday in October when you spent 40 minutes looking through a vendor's wooden trays because she had admired something similar in a shop window the week before, and you had filed it. You gave them to her on her birthday. She wears them on occasions that matter to her. You notice the earrings, you note what they mean, you say nothing, you order wine. You make small conversation about her week, about yours, the maintenance of ordinary life between two people who have been building and demolishing the same structure for 9 months. Then you set down your glass, and you begin. You say you have been thinking about the future. She listens. You say you think you want different things. She listens. You say there is something that has felt misaligned for a while, that you have been trying to locate the source of it, and you think, and here you press through the discomfort of the sentence, through the place where you always lose language. You think it might be fundamental, structural, not something that gets resolved through effort. She is very still. Her hands are flat on the table, open, not reaching, just resting. The tea light is half melted. Neither of you has touched the food. She waits until you are finished. Then she says quietly and without flinching, "I know I can be possessive." She says it the way you would name a thing you have decided with some difficulty to stop defending. The word lands and keeps landing. Possessive. You have spent 9 months trying to describe what the apartment smells like, what it feels like to have your shampoo used without asking, what it means to text a friend less and less after she said something mild about him, what it is to stand at your own front door with a packed suitcase and play a voice note you already knew you shouldn't play. And there is the word. She handed it to you. She says she has been talking to Yekaterina about it. 2 sessions now. She says she did not tell you sooner because she did not want to use the effort as a negotiating tool, did not want you to see her doing the work before she was sure she was actually doing it. She says, "I'm telling you now." You look at her across the table and the candle between you, and you understand something that has not been clear before. She is not performing. She is not calculating. She is, genuinely, imperfectly, with the particular difficulty of someone for whom effort in this direction has never been required before, trying to be different. And the question that forms in your chest is not whether you believe her. It is something harder. It is, does it matter? You have been asking the wrong question for 9 months. You have been asking, how do I leave? How do I find the right moment, the right words, the clean exit? And you have never once asked whether you want to. Not clearly, not honestly. Because the honest answer is a thing you have been refusing to look at, which is that you don't know. You genuinely do not know. And that uncertainty is not the same as wanting to stay. But it is not the same as wanting to go. Outside the window, a wet February street, rain on the pavement, someone hurrying past under a red umbrella, headlights blurring in the water. The world moving in directions that have nothing to do with you. You go home together. Not because you decided to. There is no decision exactly, no moment you could point to. It happens through a kind of gravity. The same gravity that has governed most of the last 9 months, one thing simply following another without the force of an actual choice. You sit on the edge of the bed, she goes to the bathroom, you open the closet, the suitcase is there, still zipped, still packed. 11 kilograms of shirts and a laptop and a charger and a shaving kit, waiting on the shelf where you left it in January, where it has been for 6 weeks, where it has become, you understand this now, looking at it, a piece of furniture, a fixture. An object you have arranged your self-understanding around the way you arrange furniture to make a room livable. I am a man with a packed suitcase. I am a man who could leave, who is still deciding. You reach in and pull it out. You unpack it methodically, quietly. The blue shirt, the one you folded and unfolded and refolded over 4 separate attempts, the one that is soft at the elbows from years of washing, goes back in the second drawer. The charger goes on your side of the nightstand. The shaving kit goes back in the bathroom cabinet, slid into its place behind her moisturizer and your moisturizer that she has been using since October. You do it quickly before she comes back. You do it without ceremony. The suitcase is empty. You put it back on the shelf. You close the closet door. It makes a soft click. She comes back into the bedroom and finds you sitting on the edge of the bed and the closet door closed and nothing different, apparently, about any of it. She gets into bed. She turns off the light on her side. After a few minutes, she puts her hand on your chest, lightly, without weight, the way you might rest your hand on a surface you want to confirm is still there. You lie in the dark and you stare at the ceiling and you run the calculation one last time. You run it the way you have been running it for 9 months and it returns nothing. It does not produce an answer. It simply runs and stops and there is only the sound of the street below and her breathing and the thin line of light that comes under the closet door from the street lamp outside. That thin line of light under the door. You look at it for a long time. You think about the man who stood at the front door with the suitcase in his hand in the cab 2 minutes away. You try to locate him. He is somewhere in the apartment, you think, or he left without you. You are not sure which. You're not sure those are different. Her hand on your chest weighs almost nothing. The closet door does not open. Somewhere right now, someone is standing at a door they've been standing at for months, holding something they keep putting down. They know what they're going to do. The question is whether they know that they know. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.